Hey guys, what's going on? So I'm down here at the Green Bridge and I got the Viltrox 85mm f1.4 Pro lens. It's the new lens. It's raining out, so I'm actually underneath this bridge. It's a cool spot, so figured I would just do some testing here and show you what this beast can do. So you can see the Green Bridge behind me here, and you can see like how out of focus it is. And also, if you look at me, you can see how the telephoto compression, you can kind of still see my ears because of the 85mm. In my previous video, I was reviewing the 35mm f1.2 lab lens, and that lens, because it's 35mm, it doesn't have that same perspective. So anyways, this is why 85mm is one of the most popular portrait lenses, because it makes the subject kind of look their best sort of thing. So you look a little bit thinner. For example, like with the 35, I'll kind of look a little bit chubbier because you won't really see my ears. It'll almost look like my face is a little rounder or something like that. But anyways, here's what we got. So this is f1.4. I'm not using an ND filter this time because the color cast from the 77mm filter from the previous video just was a little too much. So the shutter speed might be a little higher than it's supposed to be. Let's see what it is. 1/100th of a second. That's not that bad. I'm recording at 4K 24 and I am using S-Log3 here. So we'll see how this looks. I'm also using the Sennheiser to record audio, the MKE 400. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect with my phone using the Creators app, which I have a video on. If you guys aren't familiar, I'll link that up in the description area, and at the end of the video, it'll show up over here somewhere. But anyways, I'm going to be able to control the aperture with the camera, so while recording video live, I'll change the aperture and you can watch the Green Bridge change. So let's do that now. I gotta say, it's so peaceful out here in early morning, and just all the birds chirping. It's like 8 a.m. right now in New York. This really is very pleasant, I gotta say. So anyways, let me connect with this app here. I might have to stop recording to do that. I don't think I've ever tried to connect while recording. There we go. Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, so it does connect when recording. So you can see it is now recording me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the aperture icon and change it. So let me move over here, try to get in like the rule of thirds area. Get just a little bit closer. All right, right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the aperture. So this is f1.6, this is f1.8, this is f2. This is f2.8. Oh, that's cool. I can actually watch the aperture diaphragm. All right, so here is f4. So again, let me move to the side here a little bit so you can see that Green Bridge detail. So here's f5.6. Now here's f8, and you can really see the bridge is starting to come back into detail here. Still going to look quite blurry at 85mm at this distance, but you can definitely pull in some detail if you want. So here's f11. And here's all the way to f16. So you can see now, because I have the ISO hard set, it is a little bit underexposed. Sorry about that. I'm set to ISO 800 fixed. So let me just back that off. We'll get the exposure back correct, and I'll go all the way back to f1.4. Background separation's killer. Depth of field play is killer. The perspective of the 85mm, again, makes your subject look really good. I mean, as good as I could look, you know what I mean? I'm not near as handsome as Mark Bennett, don't get me wrong here, but, got the beard going. All right, guys, so one other thing I want to test here quick is just the autofocus transition and stuff like that. So right now, I have the autofocus transition speed set to 2. That's very slow. So watch what happens when I move out of the frame. So you're getting that nice, smooth, cinematic transition there. And now if I come back in the frame, the facial recognition is going to see my face at some point. What's going on, Viltrox? There we go. All right, guys, so now that I have the focus transition speed set to 5, so significantly faster. Let's see how the lens behaves and the camera. I'm using the Sony a7C II here, by the way, guys. Oh, you can see that's much faster. No, it's struggling. Come on. There we go. Let's see how close I can get to this beast. All right, right there. So this is the minimum focus distance. So this is what you can expect at the minimum focus. And now you can see the background butter is just ridiculous because I'm so close. As I move back, the detail is going to come back. I was just showing you some depth of field play in case you guys are unaware. Try to teach you some tricks and stuff when I do my reviews as opposed to just sticking to what I'm reviewing. In this case, it's the lens, but I wanted to just experiment a little bit with the focus transition and the subject sensitivity. So I just switched the subject sensitivity. That was on 3. So now I have it on 5, which is responsive. So now it should grab my face quicker when I switch. I also put the focus transition speed on 3. So this is right in the middle, kind of where I usually have it. So let's see if it grabs my face quicker now when I move in and out of the frame. Because now, like I said, I have it set to responsive, so it should immediately grab my face. The responsive before was set to 3. I can't remember if I said that or not. Seems to be working excellent now. All right, well, clearly I didn't have that set right. So you see, I'm kind of blaming the camera and lens for not grabbing my face, but there's tools built into the camera that make things like this work better. And you can see here, when it's on responsive, it works great. Let me put the hat on. Oh yeah, no, it's working flawless now. Yep. All right, there you have it. So subject responsiveness is very important when it comes to stuff like this. If you want it to grab you quick, you're gonna need to have that on responsive. For example, why you don't want that on this is if somebody just walked in front of me, for example, I wouldn't want it to switch to that subject. I'd want it to stay on me, let that blurry subject walk through the scene. The camera gives it a second, and then it'll just stay on me though, it won't switch. When you have it on responsive, it's gonna switch. If someone walks in between me and the camera, it's gonna try to focus on that person. The responsiveness gives it a second, and depending on what level you have it at, it'll take longer. If you have it locked on, I could something could come in front of me for quite a while and it'll just stay. It takes a while for it to switch, in other words. So anyways, just a quick little segue into the subject sensitivity, responsiveness, and autofocus transition speed. I got a bunch of photos and stuff I want to show you as well, so we'll get into that. All right, guys. Show you the lens is actually getting kind of wet here. It is weather sealed though, so I'm not too worried about it. Alright guys, so just a quick hands-on here. I just wanted to show you how it looks mounted to the A7C2, and you can see the lens hood is quite large. Just take that off. And it's got the grooves on the inside of the hood there, those little grooves. It's kind of hard to see here. Now it's got a manual aperture ring here, and it has a click and a declick, so you can turn that on. Now you get the click. It's got a nice hard stop to auto too, so they definitely made this much more significant than on previous lenses. So the aperture actually makes a little bit of noise when you switch the aperture. Not that big of a deal, but if you're doing aperture throws, hear that? So there is a little bit of noise when it comes to the aperture. Focus is pretty quiet. Every once in a while you can hear it just a little bit, but for the most part it's very quiet. Now it has the autofocus manual focus switch here, and it's got a custom button here, which is quite nice. So you can program that to what you want. And again, it's got the click declick switch there. And it's also got a very, very nice focus ring here. This feels very smooth, very professional feeling. Now, when we take the lens off the camera here, we have this nice heavy-duty rubber gasket right here, which I really like. And then we have the USB-C port here for firmware updates. And the current firmware at the time of this review is version 1.2, just to let you know. It's pretty easy to update via the app, by the way. I did it the other day and it was very simple. So looking at the front here, you have the 77mm filter thread, and you have an 11-blade aperture diaphragm in there, which is quite nice. It's also got the pinch style lens cap here, which I really like. This is what it looks like with the lens hood in the stowed position. Now this lens weighs in at 800 grams, which is, you know, pretty beefy. It feels really well built. It's got like an all metal design here, so that's really nice. It definitely feels like a pro quality lens. And as far as the price point goes, we're looking at about $600 US. And lastly, it has 15 elements in 11 groups. All right, guys, so we're just going to go over some real-world sample photos quick so I can zoom in to 100% and show you how sharp and all that other stuff. So let's just go. So first, looking through some foliage here, you can see this really nice looking church over in Goshen, and just how it renders. Looks really cool, looking through stuff like that. And on the top left, by the way, guys, is the EXIF data if you're interested. So you can see there it's at 1/4000th at f1.4 for this shot. This lens is extremely sharp at f1.4, by the way, like ludicrously sharp, pro level sharp, I would say. Now here's just a street scene, and you can see that telephoto compression like just really brings everything together so nicely. I love using an 85 for street photography. 75 is also a lot of fun for street. Here's just another angle. And here's just one more. I was heading into the craft brew here for a second, and I just shot through some glasses to show you the out of focus rendering. So that wasn't really focused on anything for this shot. It's kind of like an abstract. Here's just one of the taps, and here's a delicious Guinness I got. And you can see it here where the Guinness nitrogen is moving in the glass. I always enjoy watching that. Here's just one of the light. They have these cool lights hanging from the ceiling, and the ceiling has like that copper tin. So also notice the rendering of the bokeh balls here in the corner. It's got like a bit of a cat eye effect, but they look awesome in the real world, in my opinion. Same thing with these bokeh balls up here. There's just another shot of glass. This time I focused, so you can see that. Here's just one of the little drip tray underneath the taps, and I just thought this layering looked phenomenal. It just looks so cool. Again, it's more like an abstract or something, but here's a couple down from the green bridge. And you can see here, white balance might be a little off on this shot, but still, depth of field play is fun. Now, here's one at f1.4. Here's the same shot at f2.8. And here's the same shot at f4. So let me just show you that one more time. Here's f2.8 and here's f1.4. Now, here's one at the minimum focus distance looking down, and I just wanted to show you this so you can see just how sharp it is and how quick the depth of field falls off. Remarkable. I think shots like this just look cool in black and white, so I converted it. Here's one of just the river from an 85mm view. If you watched my 35mm lab lens review from last week, I took very similar photos, so you guys can compare the two if you want. So to see what 35 versus 85 sort of thing looks like. Here's another one here. I took another similar shot with the 35mm. Here's one looking down the railing here, and I mean, that depth of field fall off is absolutely killer. And again, guys, this is pro level sharpness, so it's just absolutely unbelievable for $600 how good the optics are on this lens. It's also weather sealed, which is quite nice. Now here's just a depth of field play. So I tried to keep the camera in about the same spot. I couldn't have it on a tripod though because I was leaning over the railing. But here's one lock, and now here I just focused on the other lock. So that's what it looks like from one lock to the other. Just to show you how that looks. Just another angle here. Snapshot looking up. Here's one looking down. Here's another one. You can see this cool tree in the background, how those bokeh balls render. and how the bridge structure here renders. Looks excellent. You can see like no fringing, none of those issues that you might see in these really high contrast areas. Now here's just one I took at work, and I focused on these modules, and they're about 2 inches deep. So this is about 2 inches away here where it says cable 3. So that's how quickly the depth of field falls off. In fact, you could see here on this windshield the depth of field very clearly. So it's like a 1/2 inch maybe. You can see it on the windshield. 85mm is so fun. All right, so here's one of this cool playground that they're working on over where near I work. It's really enjoyable just watching the progress. Pretty cool Cybertruck here over at Wayback. Went there for lunch. And here's just one of a strip mall I just wanted to show you quick. This is at f1.4, guys, and you can see the corner sharpness is excellent. Really, really good sharpness. You can see up in here in the trees. Excellent. No fringing, nothing. Pretty delicious salad, chicken bacon ranch salad bowls they're offering now at Wayback. Now here's just some depth of field play. So I focused on the little light there. And then this one I focused on the plane itself, like the fuselage or whatever that word is. Fuselage. And here's just one from the side. Pretty cool plane they got here in the park. I remember coming here when I was a little kid. You could actually go in this thing, but they sealed it up since then, you know the deal. So somebody was having a good time after work, I guess, so they left this little bottle of booze. Kind of like the way this shot rendered, though. Here's one of my parents' dog, Jasmine. You can see just incredible sharpness, all the detail in the hair. Very, very good quality rendering here. Here's one more. Now, I made some ribs. I got this video footage of these ribs on the grill. I'll show you now. And this is the rub that I put on there. So I put the mustard on there for the binder. Then I put the Q rub. And then I put a little bit of the honey killer bee and a little bit of the dirty bird. So combination of all of this stuff on those ribs. And this is what they look like when they're almost done. So they came out really good. These are the St. Louis style. So they're a little bit bigger, more meat. Here they are off the grill. And this is what it looks like cut in. And you can see just how good that looks. You can see the smoke ring and just delicious, juicy, so good. These ribs were phenomenal. My parents actually got me some chocolates from their travels. Not sure exactly where they got these from, but somewhere over in Europe, I think. Maybe Venice or something? I don't know. They went on some awesome cruise. So anyways, these chocolates are really good. Now here's one from down by the Basher Kill. Nice little trail scene. I just like how the path kind of carries the eye through the frame. And I also had this set to f1.4, so you could see the sharpness is right here is where I focused. So you could see this tree here is blurry, and the foreground's very blurry. And in this shot, you can actually see there's like a little bit of that swirly effect going on in the very corners. So I just wanted to show you guys that. Here's another depth of field type play shot. Here's one more. Thought this one rendered pretty cool. So this way you get the ground out of focus all the way to this litter garbage here, and then the background tree rendering. Now this turtle was hanging out. I don't know if he was dropping some eggs off or what, but he was really cute. You can see here the focus looks perfect. f1.4 focused right on the eye of the turtle. Very impressive. Here's one just looking into the water. Here's a quick landscape scene. And the lighting was crazy. Like it looked like it was going to storm any second, but the sun was out like a little bit behind me. So it just rendered, this looks really cool. The lighting was extremely dramatic. And it was honestly surreal looking because it very rarely looks like this. You know, the water was so dark. It was just fascinating how it looked. So just the time of day and the lighting was excellent. Really, really cool lighting. Couple more angles here. Oh God, look at this snake. I cropped in on this quite a bit. So the snake was hanging out on the little bog there. Big black snake. I don't know what kind of snake it is, but now this one I just wanted to show you the depth of field through these, you know, like weeds, and with the water and stuff behind it. Looks very good. I didn't edit this one, so if I hit auto, it should look much better. Yeah, there we go. Just very, very quickly, just to show you raw versus a very quick edit. And here's just one more. I'll just hit auto again. Something like that. Not too bad. Obviously, I would edit that quite a bit better. The horizon is crooked, but just want to show you the depth of field more than anything, like what it looks like, you know. So looking down the river here, this is a cool spot, and I was standing on the wall looking down, and you can see there's a guy fly fishing all the way down there. See that little guy right there? So that was pretty cool. If I had like a 600mm lens, I probably could have got a pretty good shot of him, but I didn't have one of those with me. Now here's just another one looking through, and you can see there he is again, right there. But also notice the high contrast area on the branches. So you can see the fringing is extremely well controlled here. Now, this is just another one I focused on this brick right here, so you can see that insane sharpness and how the sliver of depth of field, it's like 1/4 of an inch, which is, you know, just incredible. Great for portraits and stuff like that. Any kind of subject separation, basically, the 85 is a fantastic option. It's great for product photography, portraits, motorcycles, cars. It's my buddy's motorcycle at work, Butch. He's got this really cool Triumph, and he loves it. It's a cool bike. Sounds cool, looks cool. I'm sure it's fun to ride. Just took a couple of shots around the bike. Show you what this lens can do here. Cool exhaust on there, all that chrome. There's the engine block with the heat vents and stuff. Speedometer. He's got just a basic skull cap type helmet. You know, the one doesn't really offer much protection, but this is a DOT rated one, which is quite nice. And look at how the bike renders in the background. Doesn't that look sick? And here's just another one, just to show you a little different view. And here's one of the headlight. Thing's packing Brembo brakes on it. I was kind of impressed with that. It's got this cool suspension there under the seat for the rear. All right, so here's my Viltrox E-mount lens guide, and I just wanted to let you guys know, this isn't a sponsored video or anything, but Viltrox did send me the lens for review. I created like a deal with them where if you guys buy the lens through Viltrox's website, using my promo code Jason Herman, you get an 8% discount. So you can save 8% on this lens if you buy it from Viltrox directly, just to let you know. And here's my Viltrox E-mount lens guide where I have all the lenses listed. So it's an easy way to go to just see what's available, because some lenses are only available for Fuji or Nikon, for example, but most of them are available for Sony. All right, guys, so that about wraps up this review of the Viltrox 85mm f1.4. I really hope you guys got what you were looking for. And if you can give me a thumbs up if you did, that would be awesome. But it'd be even cooler if you subscribe. Also, if anybody's interested in lab testing photos, let me know, because I'm going to take those and I'm going to put them up on my website. And I'll have like the article with all the sample photos plus the lab testing photos for those pixel peepers out there. But it's kind of boring for the video, I notice, when I include those. So I'm just going to throw them up on my website now. So for those interested, you can go check them out, you know, at 1:1, 100% crops and so forth. So, all right, guys, I will catch up with you next time. Thanks again for watching my video and have a great day. Take care.